My name is James, and there is one moment in my life that I will never forget. It happened on a quiet evening that looked completely normal at first. That day, I was driving home from work. The sky was dark, and the rain had just started falling. The road outside the city was almost empty, and the only sound I could hear was the rain hitting the windshield of my car. I remember turning onto a small country road that I usually took as a shortcut. It passed through a forest and was rarely used at night. That's when I saw something strange. In the middle of the road, under the weak light of my headlights, there was a suitcase. At first, I thought someone had dropped it by accident, but something about the way it stood there made me feel uneasy. I slowed the car and stopped a few meters away. For a moment, I just sat there, staring at it. In movies, strange things always happen when someone opens a suitcase in the middle of nowhere. And honestly, part of me wanted to just drive away, but curiosity won. I stepped out of the car. The cold rain immediately soaked my jacket as I walked closer. The suitcase was old and scratched. One of the locks was broken. My heart started beating faster as I slowly opened it, and when I looked inside, I froze. It wasn't clothes. It wasn't money. Inside the suitcase were dozens of old photographs. Every single photo showed the same house. My house. Pictures from different years, different angles, different times of the day. Some photos were taken at night. Some were taken through the windows. My hands started shaking. Someone had been watching my house. For how long? And why? Then I noticed something even more disturbing. At the bottom of the suitcase, there was one final photo. It was taken just a few hours earlier. The photo showed my house again, but this time, something was different. Standing in the window was me. The picture had been taken while I was inside my own home earlier that evening, which meant only one thing. Whoever took that photo had been standing outside my house, watching me. And suddenly I realized something that made my blood run cold. The suitcase hadn't been lost. It had been left there for me to find. I stood there in the rain for a long time, holding that last photograph in my hands. The sound of the rain hitting the road was the only thing around me, but inside my head, everything was loud. One question kept repeating: who took these photos? I quickly closed the suitcase and looked around the empty road. The forest on both sides was dark and silent. No cars, no lights, no people. For a moment I thought about leaving the suitcase there and driving away, but something told me that this wasn't a coincidence. Someone wanted me to find it. So I put the suitcase in the back seat of my car and drove home. The entire drive I kept looking in the rearview mirror. It felt like someone might suddenly appear behind me. When I finally reached my house, the rain had almost stopped. My street was quiet like always. The same houses, the same streetlights. Nothing looked different, but now everything felt different. I parked the car and took the suitcase inside. My hands were still shaking when I placed it on the kitchen table. One by one, I started looking at the photographs again. Some of them were old. You could tell by the color in the paper. Some photos looked like they were taken years ago, which meant one terrifying thing. Someone had been watching my house for a very long time. Then I noticed something strange. One of the photographs showed the side of my house near the back door, and in the corner of the photo there was a shadow. A human shadow, someone standing very close to the camera. I leaned closer to the picture. The shadow looked tall, and it looked familiar. But I couldn't understand why. Then suddenly, a memory appeared in my mind. 3 days ago, I had noticed something strange outside my house. Late at night, I thought I saw someone standing across the street. At the time, I told myself it was probably just a neighbor walking home. But now, I wasn't so sure anymore. My heart started beating faster, because if someone had been watching my house, that person might still be watching it right now. Slowly, I turned my head toward the window, and that's when I saw something that made my entire body freeze. Across the street under the streetlight, someone was standing there, watching my house. I froze when I saw the figure standing under the streetlight. The person wasn't moving, just standing there, looking directly at my house. For a moment, I thought my eyes were playing tricks on me. Then the figure slowly moved, one step forward. My heart started beating faster. I quickly turned off the kitchen light and stepped back from the window. The room went dark, except for the weak streetlight coming through the glass. I carefully looked outside again. The person was still there, watching. They were tall, wearing a dark coat, and their face was hidden in the shadows. I couldn't see who it was, but I knew one thing: they knew I was home. My mind started racing. Should I call the police? I barely slept that night. Every small sound in the house made me wake up. The wind, the creaking floor, the ticking clock on the wall. Everything felt louder than usual. At sunrise, I finally got up and walked to the window. The street looked normal again. Cars were passing. People were walking their dogs. Nothing looked strange anymore, but the suitcase was still on my table, and the photographs were still there. I started looking through them again, more carefully this time. Some of them showed my house during the I stood completely still, listening. The house was dark and silent, but I knew I heard that sound. It came from the hallway slowly. I took a step toward the door. My heart was beating so loud I felt like it was heard throughout the entire house. Another step. Then the floorboard creaked again. Someone was inside. He quickly grabbed a baseball bat from closet near the kitchen and walked into the hallway. The lights were still off, and the shadows looked darker than ever. For a few seconds, nothing moved. Then I saw something. At the end of the hallway, near the back door, a standing figure, tall, motionless, watching me. I couldn't see the face clearly, but I knew it was the person from the street link to the person who took the photos. For a few seconds, we neither moved, then I sighed own word. Who are you? The figure slowly stepped forward into the light, and when I finally saw the face, my entire body froze. Because it was a face I knew very well. It was my older brother Daniel, the brother who had moved to another city 10 years ago. Some at night, some from very close, some from far away. Then I noticed something that made my stomach twist. One photograph showed my backyard, and in the background, my back door was open. I stared at the photo, trying to remember when that picture could have been taken. Then it hit me. 3 months ago. One evening, I had forgotten to close the back door before going to sleep. At the time, nothing happened, or at least that's what I thought. My hands started shaking again, because if someone took that picture, they were standing inside my yard. Very close to my house, maybe even close enough to open the door. Suddenly, I felt a cold chill run through my body. I slowly turned around and looked toward the hallway that led deeper into the house. Everything looked quiet. Too quiet. Then I heard something, a small sound, like a floorboard moving, coming from inside my house. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. Daniel stood there calmly, as if nothing strange was happening. "Why are you here?" I asked. He didn't answer immediately. His eyes moved to the suitcase on the table. "You found it," he said quietly. My hands started shaking again. "You were taking those photos?" I asked. He slowly nodded. "For how long?" I asked. He sighed. 15 years. My blood ran cold. He then explained something that changed everything. Years ago, after our parents died, Daniel believed someone was trying to find something hidden in our family house, something left by our father. He said he had been watching the house all these years to make sure no one broke it. But recently he saw strangers driving past the house, looking at it, watching. He thought they might come. That's why I left the suitcase on the road. Hugh wanted me to know. We're not being watched by him. We're being watched by someone else. And just when I said that, a light from a car appeared outside the window W, stopping right in front of my house.